Good morning guys, welcome to the Shades and a brand new video today. In today's video, we're going to talk about a very young, promising English lad there's a lot of talk of him joining Chelsea. He's also one of the best pals of one of the promising Chelsea players that we have. By the thumbnail, you guys should know by now we're talking about Declan Rice. There's a lot of news that he might be joining Chelsea, and so we need to talk about him. We need to see if that's going to be a good, maybe or not that good, or it's a bad deal for Chelsea. So here we go. So first thing, when we talk about Declan Rice, when he was 8 years old, he joined Chelsea with his best pal, Mason Mount. Now Mason Mount and Declan Rice are the best of friends. They're like this really good friends. Now not only they are friends, their families are also the best of friends. That's how deep they are. Now at the age of 14, suddenly some Chelsea coach thought that he's just not good enough. I mean Declan Rice, and he's told that go to some other club. So Declan Rice moves to a different club, and within 2-3 years we see Declan Rice then playing for West Ham and still playing for West Ham, and he goes to West Ham and suddenly gets into the first team. So by the age of 17-18, Declan Rice is in the first team of West Ham, and now he's not only one of the best players of West Ham, he is into the English team. He has played almost 7 matches for England right now. So a lot of people will think that he is good enough to get into a big team. Not only Chelsea, Manchester United is also one of the clubs who are looking into him. Now, one point that I came to know about Declan Rice is that a lot of players who start playing for a big club in a very good, a very good league like the Premier League. The Premier League is one of the top leagues in the world. When they start at the age of 17, 18, 19, these are special players, and they might, if without injuries, they might go all the way. They will become legends. And keeping that in mind, I can tell you that this guy might be there. He might end up being a top player. And something to think about for the Chelsea hierarchy. Roman Abramovich, Marina, they might think that this guy, who was a Chelsea reject at a very young age, could have shattered, but he did not. He came back strong, got into West Ham by the age of 18, cemented his place, and now he's talked about. So that is something we talked about. I mean, many of you might come up and say that a lot of players who debut for a big club, or maybe for a club, goes on to become a big player when they're 17, 18, 19 years old. And I don't disagree with that. But he is one of those players, and I think he will go all the way. So now, keeping that in mind, do you think Chelsea should go for Declan Rice? We might, and we should, but there comes a problem. West Ham suddenly puts a £70 million price tag on him and makes it really tough for Chelsea to go for him. 70 million in today's age. Now understand, this is not a normal age. This is COVID pandemic age. Most of the economies are going into recession. In this kind of age, 70 mil on this guy is just too much. I mean, I came to reports just a few days ago, maybe just yesterday, not just a few days ago, that Borussia Dortmund is thinking of letting Jadon Sancho go at just 90 mil. If we are getting someone like Sancho, and not we, if any team is getting Sancho for 90 mil, why will they spend 70 mil on Declan Rice? The price has to come down. And in case of the price comes down, obviously, Declan Rice would be a good player for Chelsea. Now, if you see the thumbnail that I made, you will find out that there are 2 other players I've talked about in that thumbnail. Not talked about, just in the pictures. I'm going to talk about them right now. Ross Barkley being one of them. There was talk a couple of months ago, maybe 3-4 months ago, that maybe if Ross Barkley goes the other way, goes to West Ham, and Declan Rice comes in, so Ross Barkley will cost around about 30 mil. And if Declan Rice's price drops around 60 mil, then maybe at 25-30 mil, we can get Declan Rice. And that is a good price at this position for any player. I'm pretty sure West Ham is not going to go for it. But in case if West Ham is interested in Ross Barkley, maybe, who knows, maybe West Ham will be interested. And if that happens, maybe a Declan Rice might come to Chelsea. But unless I don't think Chelsea is going to pay 70 mil on Declan Rice. There is one other thing to talk about. You see, in the past, not in the last 10-15 years or so for Chelsea, we had some really promising players who have come in to Chelsea. Talk about Scott Parker. such a good player he was with Charlton Athletic, and he came to Chelsea, could not cement his place. Frankie was the number one choice, and he eventually left Chelsea, went to Newcastle. We have Steve Sidwell. He came to Chelsea with all that promise, couldn't make it big, and then even less than 2 years, I guess he moved to Reading. So we have instances at Stamford Bridge that their players have come in, and we have to learn from those instances, those examples. Declan Rice could be that. I know he's very promising at 16, 17, 18. Getting into any Premier League club means that you are good, and you might get into a very good career, a legendary career maybe. But understand that that doesn't mean that we should purchase him. Somebody said that even if he gets into the bench and a backup to some of our first team players, but I think no player is going to come to Chelsea to be a backup. They will want to play. If you're 20, 21, why'd you like to be a bench warmer? If you're 28, 29, 30, 32, with a lot of injuries, maybe you like to be a bench warmer. Problem solved. But 20, 21, when you're that age, you're not going to be a bench warmer. You want to play every match. And that should be your attitude. And I guess that's the attitude for Declan Rice. That's the reason why when he became a Chelsea reject, he did not give up hope. He gave his best shot. So for Chelsea, 70 million for Declan Rice, this, I'm pretty sure this. From my end, this is it. We cannot spend that kind of money. If there are reports to be true that we can get Jadon Sancho for 90 mil, not just us, any team which is interested in Jadon Sancho, then 70 mil is just too much for Declan Rice. Yes, maybe if a thing happens that Barkley goes the other way and Rice comes this side, there could be a chance for a less amount, 25, 30 mil. There's also one thing, if you've seen the thumbnail, again I'm talking about the thumbnail, this is the third time I did, Ethan Ampadu, where does he goes then? We have a player, and many players have come up, many people have come up and said that, Declan Rice and Ethan Ampadu could be different. It might not be. They might play in different positions, and to a certain extent can be agreeable. But there we do have a player called Ethan Ampadu who was not rejected by the Chelsea youth team. He's still there. Maybe he's playing for a different club right now on a loan, but he will come back, and he needs to come back. He needs to start for Chelsea for next season. That's what I believe. That he's good. He showed it against Spurs in the Champions League that how good he is, and we need to get him back in Chelsea. So if we are to give our players who are already in our books a chance, we cannot go ahead and spend 70 mil on certain players. We need players in other positions whom we need to get in. Alex Telles, maybe I know Frank has been crazy about Martins. There's a lot of talk about Martins coming to Chelsea. But we really need to get some of our players who are on loan a chance, especially I think Ethan Ampadu being one of them. He is also, just like Declan Rice, very promising, and we expect him to do well. Billy Gilmore is one of them. He's going to come up. I know, different positions maybe with Declan Rice, but still. So overall, if the price goes down, there's still maybe a chance of Declan Rice coming to Chelsea, but otherwise 70 mil is too steep. He has also got a new contract with West Ham, so West Ham will be doing all the talking. And so I don't think West Ham is going to let him go at a very less price, but with today's day, with recession coming in, there's a chance of recession coming in. It's not that it's coming in. If that something happens, 70 mil for Declan Rice is too much. I leave it at that. I want to hear it from you guys in the comment section. Let me know if you guys think Declan Rice is a good purchase or we should just let it go. Keep it in the comment section as always. And until next time, I see you guys. Ciao.